Peter, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm very well, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Is this your first radio appearance since you made the film?
Absolutely. It's my first radio appearance.
Excellent.
History.
Great. Awesome. Well, first off, I just want to make this clear. I am saying the name of the film right. Correct? It's Zeitgeist, correct?
That's correct. It's a German word, Zeitgeist, which means essentially the spirit of the age or the spirit of society. There's a few different definitions, but ultimately the definition that I subscribe to is the insight of a culture. It's the general spiritual nature and awareness of a culture. If you look it up, you find many different definitions for it. But
all right.
That's essentially the definition.
I got to tell you, it's I watched this film probably about a week after it came out, and I was just completely blown away by it. It said a lot.
Well, I hope you know there's a new version up now.
Right.
That was put up about 2 days ago. That is actually the finalized version. It's a little bit different now, just so you know.
Excellent. Yes, and I was going to bring that up as well. I haven't gotten the chance to view it yet, but I will get into that in just a few minutes here. But I just want to just say what a great film it is. It's excellent. It gave me a lot of insight, especially into the Christianity portion that I wasn't aware of. Some of it I did know, but a lot of it I didn't. So it has obviously probably created you personally a lot of controversy. You had told me over the email that you've been receiving a ton of emails about it. What kind of responses are you getting from this film?
Well, it's been exponentially increasing. In fact, right before I came on the show, I was looking at my emails, and I get about 7 to 10 an hour right now, and I'm laughing because I don't know how I'm going to possibly answer all of these, though I'm definitely going to try. Hopefully things will slow down. But they're terrific emails. 99.9% of them are absolutely positive. It's people that really want to see change in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that 40% of them literally are people that say outright, what can I do to help? People offering donations, people wanting to create rallies. Everybody wants to show it to their friends. They want to have community and organizations to do things. You know, it's a really amazing thing to see the response, which proves to me that there really is, and I'm sure you know this as well, a massive movement in this country and in the world to see truth come out and to stop all the horrific lies that circulate in society that do nothing but detract from our human unity.
Exactly. Now, I just want to let you know that your film helped me lose sleep, but not in a bad way. I'll tell you why. Because when I first found it, it took me a couple days before I got got around to watching it. But I started watching it around 2 or 3 in the morning one night. And I'm saying to myself, and because I normally get up at 9 in the morning and start researching for my show and taking care of my kids and all that, and then it's about 3 in the morning. Mike Chambers' show is about to go off the air, and I'm like, I think I want to watch this, but I told myself, okay, I'm only going to watch a half an hour, and I'll watch the rest later. I watched a half an hour into that film, Peter, and I was just completely mesmerized by it. I just said, you know what? I don't care. I'll get 2 hours of sleep. I really don't care. I'm staying up. I'm watching the whole thing. It was literally that mesmerizing. I was completely blown away by it because, and I'll tell you why. Now, the 9/11, and for folks who are not familiar with this film, basically, Peter here, he has covered the Christianity, I guess you could say, scandal. In the first part, it's 3 parts. The second part is 9/11 truth, and then the third part covers the Federal Reserve, which I thought was a brilliant, brilliant piece. But
thank you. That's probably the most important section.
Yeah, it is. It really is. It's very important because a lot of people don't understand the Federal Reserve, and you cut it down. I mean, you took pretty much. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Money Masters, but that's like over that's over a 3.5 hour film.
3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and you combined that. You compacted that in about like 30 to 40 minutes into one section of your film. Now, going back to the response you're getting, are you getting a lot of negativity about the Christianity part of your film?
Actually, I have. I've gotten a few, but honestly, I mean a few out of the probably 700 to 800 emails I've gotten in 2.5 weeks, I guess.
Right.
The negativity towards that, I mean, it's basically the same arguments. Unfortunately, with the Christian section, it's the most esoteric because you cannot go online and find this information out. So it's a lot of people, they see this stuff and they say, oh, well, I see all the copycat deities, and they go and they punch it up and they can't find the information. That's because the information is not there to be found on the internet or in encyclopedias. You have to turn to the scholars that have been studying these things for at least the past 400 to 500 years.
Right.
And these texts have been suppressed. The primary core of that argument comes from a man named Gerald Macy, who derived his Egyptology work off from a man named Samuel Birch. I think it's very important I mention Gerald Macy,
Right.
because he is probably the preeminent Egyptologist researcher in comparative religion, specifically the Egyptian religion versus the Christian religion. And if people understood how unbelievably similar these stories are and where the derivatives come from for this religion, and in fact the Judaism aspect of it, and even to the Islamic aspect of it, because they're all the same thing. They're all derived from the same type of idea.
Right.
People would really wake up. Unfortunately, it's such a point of contention that people, it's just like the 9/11, just like if you remember the film, I have David Ray Griffin introduce the 9/11 section.
Right.
Which he's such a brilliant guy.
Right, and I had him on my show. Yeah, I had David Ray on my show about 2-3 nights ago, but it was,
right. I heard a fraction of that. It was great.
Excellent, thank you.
But he does this excellent comparison of this belief, this sort of a religious myth where it's blasphemous to question it. And that's the state of mentality you have with 9/11. You have the American nationalists who just simply can't take in new information. It's too emotionally trying for them to take in new information about just for the possibility that the government could be behind something so atrocious.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's a massive precedent for it, but that's a different point. So that is the emails that I've gotten that reflect this. I've tried to be as courteous as possible. Most of them are not outright hate-filled. They just say I'm wrong, and they give me all their web sources, and I respond. I give them all my books and resources, and most of them don't seem like they're going to pursue it anymore. They just continue arguing. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. And there's not a whole.
I don't know how far you want to elaborate on that point regarding Christianity, but I'd be happy to do so.
Right.
Of course, the piece covers most of it. Mm-hmm. I had and just so you know, this isn't all of my conception as far as the compilation of it. I actually had a professional in this field consult with me on that particular section, a woman named Acharya S. She has 3 tremendous books that I recommend everyone to read. She's probably the foremost contemporary on the subject of Christianity and the actual astro-theological sources for the religion itself,
right,
which no one has been aware of. They don't realize. I mean, back in the day, people didn't have television. They looked at the sky. Yeah. The sky was all they had, and they were able to track incredible amounts of information over long periods of time. 26,000-year cycles they could track and communicate to generation after generation. And people think that the ancients were unintelligent. That's absolutely not true. The ancients are incredibly intelligent. In fact, your point about the emails, they've been absolutely positive. Even the people that hated the first part love the other part. So it's really great that I get a combination of people. They say this is nonsense, but I really like this. At least they're being exposed to these points.
Exactly. And I think it's important that if you put so much faith into something that you heavily examine it first before you put all your faith into it. But I think one huge part that blew me away about that movie, and you might want to elaborate a little on this, was just the amount of different gods and goddesses and supposed saviors of mankind that all share that December 25th birthday, all born of a virgin mother, all had the 12 disciples. It was incredible. I mean, all throughout history, going back 5,000 plus years, of the same exact thing. Yeah, and then how you showed where we're entering different ages. We're in the age of Pisces now, and we'll be moving into the age of Aquarius. And I found that absolutely fascinating. And then there's another point that I thought was pretty cool. And my wife exposed me to this when I first met her, but she wasn't even completely aware of this. But there's how you say there were over 40 plus scholars back then during Christ's time who not once wrote anything about him in any of their books. Now, my wife said that there was one, and she couldn't remember the name, but he wrote maybe a line.
Josephus, probably.
Yeah,
was it Josephus?
I'm not sure. I have to ask her again. But
okay. Well, I want to bring this up. First of all, the new version, I've corrected that list. I've readjusted that section slightly that you're talking about because I got a lot of heat for that one because everyone would cite all these supposed historians that would say that Jesus existed. So I expanded that, and basically what I did is I listed what is now about 30 historians that say nothing, and these are ones that are absolutely accurate. The first list I had was from an older source, and Acharya S, who I just spoke of, who's been studying this for many, many years, is absolutely an expert on this, which I highly recommend people look into her work.
Right.
She gave me an updated list, which is slightly smaller, removing the four people that supposedly, and that people claim, reference Christ. And I'll tell you exactly what those are. You have Tacitus, Pliny the Younger, and Suetonius. And essentially these three have 1 to 2 sentences in all the mass, all the body, all the volumes of work regarding the history of that period. And all they refer to is the Christ or the Christos. Now, if you know anything about entomology, you realize that Christ and Christos they're not names, the titles. They refer to, and they mean the anointed one, which can be applied to anything. It's a title. Pharaohs, as you know, I mean, pharaohs and kings, I'm sure you know, were considered to be connected to God, always. They were representations of God. They were the anointed ones.
Right.
Anybody could be considered an anointed one if they are praised as such. It simply means just that. So these references to Christos and Christ have absolutely no relationship whatsoever to Jesus. They try to twist it around because there are references to Christians, which could be anything, because at this point you have the Gnostic Christianity, which existed before supposedly Jesus even came.